Yo, what is up, y'all? Anxiety Offline, back again today for another video. And in this one, we're going to make a deck and just talk about deck making in general. I've been pressing a lot of decks lately. I've been shaping and pressing two every day for the past maybe 2 weeks or so. And I gotta say, I'm really enjoying this process. I've gotten a lot more tools to make it kind of easier for myself, like a drill press. But overall, the process is pretty much just the same, shaping everything by hand. And I've been really enjoying it. It's just so satisfying. If you've been following this channel for a while, then you might know before doing fingerboarding, before I was really into fingerboarding, I was very into like Hot Wheels and Gundams, like Gunpla kits. If you check out the channel Zero System with two M's, you can see a lot of my older work there. And those were super fun. I really enjoyed making them, building all those custom Hot Wheels and painting all those Gundams. Super fun. It took a lot of effort and a lot of work. The only thing is, it wasn't as satisfying as when you were all done. You would spend a month on a little tiny car or, a Gundam or something like that. And for all that work, you take some pictures of it, post them, and then it would go sit on a shelf and you really wouldn't mess with it again. And that's the one thing I love about fingerboarding is we get to make something that is miniature and precise and you can actually use it and it functions. So each deck I make, I kind of have it in my head that this deck is going to be, for myself. I want to just be able to have a big pile of really perfect, awesome decks that are all to my specifications, that whenever I need a new one, I can just kind of go in the pile and just kind of grab any single one and it will be perfect. So I use that philosophy when making every single one. I've been uploading a lot of content alongside making these boards too. So if you're curious about how to make your own fingerboards, or if you're just curious about smaller parts of the process, like how to dye plies or anything like that, check out my channel. Look at my backlog of videos because I have a lot of tutorials up showing people just how to do this process in general. I'm definitely no pro by any means, but you can definitely learn the basics just by watching a lot of these videos. And recently I got a drill press, and I gotta say it's made making the holes and the countersinks way easier. Now I kind of know that everything is being drilled like 90 degrees straight down. I'm not doing things at an offset with a hand drill. So it's made things a lot more precise and definitely a lot easier. I was luckily able to get one from Grind FB. He was selling his old one, so I was able to get. I was shopping for this specific branded one for a while. It's the Harbor Freight Central Machinery, desktop, not desktop, but it's about that size drill press. Had my eye on it for a while. I think it's about 200 in store or so, give or take. And you got to take it home and put it together and all that stuff. But I was able to buy Grind FBs at a pretty heavy discount, and it came already put together, which was awesome. So he showed me how to use it real quick, and I took it home, and it was simple as plugging it in. It was good to go, and it made my life a heck of a lot easier. I've been messing up a lot less decks now, and I've been keeping my mold a lot nicer too because I'm not drilling into it at odd angles or, just accidentally just hitting the sides of the mold holes or, just accidentally hitting the sides of the holes. Now I know when I drill down, I'm going straight down and I'm hitting the right spot I need to. And at the same time, I'm not messing up the mold in any way. And I mentioned it before, but when I shape my decks, I don't actually use like the shaper per se. I trace a line around my deck and then I use that kind of as my guide to go sand it down with the belt sander. And at first I thought maybe this was super like unorthodox or weird, but lately I've been watching a lot of videos on how skateboards are made. And to my surprise, Paul Schmidt actually makes boards in kind of a similar way, you can kind of say. I was watching one of his process videos on the Braille channel, and he made a template and then traced it out with a pencil and then sanded it with a much bigger belt sander to that line, and then did some final sanding from there. But I was surprised; it was definitely pretty similar. I've seen some other process videos too. Like I like the Manic Skate one because he builds them all pretty much in his garage in his backyard. His was pretty cool though. He had a giant jig made up for his boards. He's able to kind of put his boards on there and then use a bandsaw to kind of roughly trace that. And it was super cool to see. So there are definitely a lot of parallels, a lot of similarities in the processes, but there's also a lot of differences as well. And one of the ones that I find super fascinating is that when they press full size skateboards in a mold, they'll actually press like 4 or 5 at a time. So then when they do this, the decks come out with slightly different kick heights. And I was talking to the owner of Refuge about this, and he showed me on a couple decks, they'll actually denote where it was in the mold. Different brands do it different ways, but I think I picked up like a 0 deck or something like that. And in the middle of the front truck holes on the top of the board, it had a number 3 kind of scored in there, very, very tiny. So by looking at that, you kind of know where the deck kind of was in that position in the mold. So I find that super, super cool. I want to try that with fingerboards, pressing 4 or 5 in a mold. Then again, pressing 2 at once can even be kind of like a little bit of a chore. So imagine, pressing 4 or 5 at a time would get to be a little bit crazy. But I want to try it for the simple fact of experimenting with the kick heights and the concaves and all that, just to see how different they turn out kind of at that scale. The crazy thing with fingerboarding is they're just so tiny that the smallest changes can just make the biggest difference. It's really crazy. So, anyways, that's all I got for today. And here's some clips. So I'll see you back here next week. Don't forget, I post weekly fingerboard content. So if you want more videos just like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you back here next week. Thanks so much for watching. Leave a comment and a like if you made it this far. And check out my website as well, anxietyoffline.com, and use the code YouTube3 to save $3 off your order. So that's about it. I'll see you back here next time. Peace.